विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीं द्वादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै। वर्स नंबर 4। भूमिरापो नलो वायुः खं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहंकार इतीयं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा। So in the first 3 verses of this chapter, Lord Krishna introduced the subject matter. The subject matter of, in fact, these 6 chapters from 7 to 12 is Ishvara. That is the subject matter. Why this subject matter here? Because of the question, because of the Bhagavan's last statement in the verse in the chapter 6. Bhagavan talked about a meditation on Ishvara. That's how Arjuna wanted to know, as though he has not asked question, but Bhagavan assumes that this is a question in Arjuna's mind. So, meditation on Ishvara means you should know Ishvara. Then you can meditate. So, the first thing is, who is Ishvara? And second question is, how the meditation on Ishvara should be carried out. How should I meditate on Ishvara? These 2 questions were there in Arjuna's mind, thinking that, well, Bhagavan started this 7th chapter, and in which first 3 verses, Bhagavan introduced this subject matter. What is the nature of Ishvara? And also, the glory of this knowing the Ishvara. Both the things have been introduced in the first 3 verses of this chapter. And then Shankaracharya ji gave this introduction in the beginning of the 4th verse. Shrotaram prarochanena abhimukhikritya aha. Shrotaram prarochanena abhimukhikritya. Abhimukhikaranam means drawing the attention of whom? Shrotaram, listener, the student of Bhagavad Gita. So, basically drawing the attention of this Shrota, the student, or we can say having drawn the attention of this Shrota, the listener. How did he draw the attention? Well, what is the method used? Prarochanena. Prarochana means by tempting the student, by basically making the student love the subject matter. Well, that is how he draws the attention. And how he created a love in the subject matter? By glorifying the subject matter, by glorifying the knowledge of Ishvara. And that is how yajñātva neha bhuyonyat jñātavyam avashishyate. Bhagavan said in second verse. Well, knowing Ishvara, knowing the reality of Ishvara, knowing the nature of Ishvara, the truth of Ishvara, well, one doesn't require to know anything else in this world later. So as though he is going to get satisfaction intellectually. So that is how he draws, he is arousing an interest in Arjuna and others, Shrotaram, listeners, by saying this, by making this kind of a statement. And also one knows Ishvara. Ishvara means what is Ishvara? Everything is Ishvara ultimately. And therefore the person also, this jiva, who is suffering from all emotional issues, also will be resolved. The one is non-separate from Ishvara, knowing that, well, basically, even emotional satisfaction also will be there. Intellectual satisfaction also will be there, because there is nothing else to be known later. And thereby, so this is how Shrotaram prarochanena abhimukhikaranam, having drawn the attention of the listener by making the student love the subject matter. For that purpose, he glorified also the knowledge. So now the verse number 4 and 5, Bhagavan actually, from the verse 4 onwards, he enters into the subject matter. And 4 and 5 basically, in which Bhagavan shows that I am in a form of two prakritis. He says, as such we know, Ishvara is, what is Ishvara, etc., Satchidananda Atma, and Maya is Upadin, like that we know. But he says a little differently here. I am in a twofold prakriti. In verse number 4, he introduced one prakriti. In verse number 5, he introduced another prakriti. So, I mean, prakriti means basically the karanam, cause, especially the upadana karanam. We will see the meaning later. Upadana karanam means the material cause. I am in the form of two types of a material cause for this creation. So, Bhagavan introduced himself. He wants to give a knowledge of Ishvara to Arjuna and others. So he says, well, I am in the form of a twofold causes, as though. So one is a apara prakriti, he introduces in verse number 4. And in verse number 5, he says, I am in the form of a para prakriti. Para prakriti, para means which is a higher. Apara, which is inferior. Apara prakriti means I am in form of a inferior cause of this creation. I am in the form of a superior cause of this creation. Because ultimately, para prakriti means I am in the form of a Satchidananda. I am of the nature of Satchidananda. And therefore, being Satchidananda, I lend existence to the entire creation. Without me, there will not be creation possible. Because the very existence of the creation is due to me. Therefore, I lend the creation, existence to the entire creation. And therefore, I am the truth of the entire creation. Right? This exists, but that existence itself is Ishvara. Means I am the truth of everything. I am cause of everything. Finally, sarvasya, karanam. I am in the form of a cause in this form by lending existence to the entire creation. I am the truth of the creation. I am the ultimate cause of the creation. And that is the first. That is a paraprakriti. That is my nature actually. And that's nature of you also. I like that he will say in the verse number 5. And through my upadhi, maya upadhi, etc., I create the entire creation. I create the whole thing. So the whole creation has come through my upadhi called maya, which is non-separate from me. So that is apara prakriti. So this is, we can call it as a changing cause. because this apara prakriti, which he is going to mention, well, it is a changing cause. Maya itself transforms into varieties of these elements, and then subtle elements and gross elements, and then that's how all names and forms have come. So, but this is a changing cause, changing material cause, apara prakriti. Non-changing material cause, Satchidananda. I am available in the creation as right now as Satchidananda, not undergone any change. I lend the existence of the entire creation, the very existence available everywhere, including space and time. That existence is myself. So after even creation, I am obtaining in the creation as a Satchidananda, therefore non-changing. I am a Satchidananda. Before creation also I was a Satchidananda, and right now also I am Satchidananda, even after creating all these names and forms. So this is called non-changing material cause. In Sanskritam they call it as a Vivarta Upadana Karanam. Vivarta Upadana Karanam means this material has become a cause for a certain product without undergoing any change. We have several examples like that. The rope becomes snake without undergoing any change. Right? So rope is called a Vivarta Upadana Karanam for the snake. If rope itself is not the very snake. So definitely rope as though lends existence to the rope, the snake. So, well, that is so Vivarta Upadana Karanam. But the milk becomes curd. Well, that is Parinami Upadana Karanam. Milk is a cause for the curd, yogurt. But that transforms. So there are two types of causes. Parinami Upadana Karanam, changing material cause, and Vivarta Upadana Karanam, non-changing material cause. Bhagavan says, I am also the cause of this creation in this twofold way. So Vivarta Upadana Karanam as a Satchidananda, well, lending existence to the entire creation. I am the cause. Any product exists due to cause, material cause. If material itself is not there, where is product? Therefore, the product derives existence from the cause. And therefore, well, Bhagavan says, I am non-changing material cause called para prakriti, which is higher, definitely superior. And this, I am also the changing material cause, apara prakriti, also through my upadhi called Maya. So that is in this twofold way he explains. So Bhagavan is as though a mixture of non-changing and changing material cause of the entire universe. We should say this. We should not say Bhagavan is endowed with this twofold prakriti. No. So Bhagavan is different, but he has this twofold prakriti. No. Bhagavan is in this in the form of this twofold prakriti, twofold causes, changing, non-changing, para prakriti, apara prakriti. So non-changing material cause, definitely its contribution to the creation is creating names and forms. And the very existence of the names and forms is due to Paraprakriti. This is how he is going to explain. Now in verse number 4, basically Bhagavan introduces Aparaprakriti first. And so here it says Bhagavan says this Aparaprakriti itself is having eightfold divisions. So, he's Ashtadha Apara Prakriti. He says, Bhinna Prakriti hi Ashtadha. He doesn't name here Apara, that he says in the next verse. But he introduces this Apara Prakriti and he says it is Ashtadha. Da means eightfold. Ashtadha, eightfold. This Ashtadha Prakriti basically, which has come which has come from my upadhi called Maya. Apara Prakriti is Maya, that is eightfold. This Bhumi, Rapo, etc. he is introducing. And while enumerating this eightfold division of Apara Prakriti, Bhagavan is making use of a Sankhya theory of creation. We have a little different, I will show you the differences between our method of creation and our theory of creation and Sankhya's theory of creation. So here, this description is based on, in verse number 4, the description is based on Sankhya's approach to this creation. And of course, I could not draw the chart here, how the creation has come, but I will explain you. So in Sankhya's, they say this apara prakriti, they call it as a moola prakriti. They also call it as a avyaktam. Avyaktam or moola prakriti, that is the main. Moolam means main, principal cause. That avyaktam or a moola prakriti first gives rise to mahat tattvam. Tattvam means category. The Sankhya describe the creation by describing 24 categories. Tattvam. So, avyaktam or a moola prakriti, the first thing which comes out is this mahat tattvam or buddhi. I will explain you later what are the things. Then from mahat tattvam comes out ahankara. And from ahankara, they say three streams of the things which have come out of this from ahankara. So from ahankara comes out manaha, mind. Not this mind. This is all at the level of a samashti, cosmic level. So manaha. Then dasha indriyani also, 10 sense organs, 10 organs of action and sense organs, total. 5 sense organs and 5 organs of action also came out from ahankara. And 5 subtle elements also came out from ahankara. So from ahankara, 3 things. Mind and sense organs and organs of action and 5 subtle elements. And then 5 subtle elements grossify into 5 gross elements. This is how they mention the creation. Now I will see what is this mahat tattvam and all this. So anyway, so the avyaktam or a moola prakriti or this apara prakriti, which is the seed of this whole creation, well, this is this according to Sankhya, and we also say, Vedantin also accepts this. We don't use, we use word prakriti, moola prakriti, but later silently we tell Maya. But they don't accept. And why they don't accept, etc., we'll discuss later. But we adopt that yes, the creation has come from prakriti. They also call moola prakriti, avyaktam, etc. And this avyaktam is anadi, naturally. It is beginningless. The only difference between the Sankhya and Vedantin is, in Sankhya philosophy, this avyaktam, moola prakriti, basic cause, right, the principal cause of the entire creation is real. Therefore, what comes out from that prakriti also is real. The whole creation is real. Whereas in Vedantin, we say this moola prakriti, the basic cause, basic material, avyaktam also we say, well, that is not real. To indicate it is not real, we use word Maya. Clear? That's how we use. So this is, and therefore what comes out of this prakriti, well, is also will be mithya. If Maya is mithya, well, definitely what comes out of the creation, this prakriti also will be mithya. So from avyaktam, now let's begin this creation. From avyaktam, well, basically what the first thing which comes out is a mahat tattvam or buddhi. So it's a technical word actually used. It does not refer to our intellect, individual intellect. We call it as a buddhi. No. Because we are talking about creation. Therefore, definitely not, we are not talking about an individual right now. So, buddhi refers to the first evolution from this avyaktam. We can call it as some kind of a cosmic material. The first thing which has come out of this avyaktam or a moola prakriti is some cosmic material. So, cosmic material aspect called mahat tattvam is a first evolution from moola prakriti, avyaktam. That's the first thing. Then from mahat tattvam, second step, what comes is a ahankara. This ahankara also is not that individual ego, etc., the sense of individuality. No. That is also a cosmic material aspect of the creation. And they say, some acharyas say that from that samashti ahankara, that cosmic aspect, the individual ego also has come. the sense of individuality, has come from that samashti, cosmic ahankara. We also have ahankara, I sense, right? Ego, in sense of individuality. That has come from the samashti ahankara. That's how they say. But anyway, what they mention here from avyaktam, the basic material, first thing is mahatattvam, which is also a cosmic material aspect. From that, ahankara comes, that is also cosmic material aspect, not individual ego. Individual ego is, you can say, a fraction of that cosmic ahankara. We can say that. This is second evolution. Avyaktam, mahatattvam or buddhi, and then this ahankara. Then the next evolution from ahankara is this 16 tattva, 16 categories. They call tattva. So 16 categories has come from ahankara. One stream is mind, manaha, from ahankara. The second thing from ahankara is this organs of action and sense organs. Here also not individual, we have to see that. And 5 subtle elements. So all 3 things have come from ahankara. Manaha, 1. 10 sense organs and organ of action, that is 10. And 5 subtle elements. So 10 plus 5 plus 1. 16 categories, 16 tattvas have been born from ahankara. And then lastly, from 5 subtle elements, I'll grossify into 5 gross elements. And that's how you see the whole gross creation, varieties of the bodies and other things, gross objects. That's how this is a model theory of a Sankhya's creation. Now, so here manaha means cosmic mind principle. We have to take that way, naturally, because this is an individual mind. We are talking of the creation, cosmic level. And therefore, this is a cosmic mind principle. Then this dasha indriyani, 10, that is also, we have to say, it is a indriya concepts or possibilities at the level of cosmos. And 5 subtle elements that we understand very easily, because that is there in our, this one also, in our model also. So 5 subtle elements of akasha, vayu, etc. And then the last stage of evolution is, as I said you, 5 subtle elements gives rise to 5 gross elements. So 4 stages of evolution, we can say like that. And we see here another difference from Vedantic creation. In Sankhya's creation, these sense organs, etc., are born out of ahankara tattvam. Even aspects, cosmic aspects of the organs of action and sense organs are born of ahankara. Whereas what we say is basically from 5 subtle elements that organs of action and organs of sense organs are born, right? We were saying that. Because from the sattva aspect of the 5 elements, basically all combined together, sattva aspect of the all 5 elements combined together give rise to this mind. Then sattva aspect of the each element gives rise to 5 different sense organs. And the rajas aspect of the each element gives rise to 5 organs of action. So in our model of creation, I'm just comparing. In our model of creation, from subtle elements we say senses and sense organs and organs of action and mind are born. They say no. From samashti ahankara, the mind, the cosmic mind is born. Also the cosmic aspects of the senses are born. And also from the ahankara, samashti ahankara, 5 subtle elements are also born. And then 5 subtle elements undergo grossification to give rise to 5 gross elements. And then from 5 gross elements, entire gross world is created. All varieties of the names and forms are created. So anyway, so basically, we have borrowed right now Sankhya Srushti. But why we should borrow? This is ultimately a confusion. Why we should borrow this kind of a Srushti? Whatever the model of the Srushti is there, ultimately we are going to negate. That is what we are going to do, right? Because this is a model. Ultimately, everything is Brahman, everything is you. If it is told to you directly, you will not accept. You will basically will not throw your notion that everything is not Brahman. You will throw the person who says that everything is Brahman. Definitely. Therefore, they have to adopt a certain method by which you come to the ultimate you will come to know this ultimate truth. And one of the model, I have actually all these different models I discussed in the last class. One of the model is this Karana Karya Prakriya, cause effect. So basically cause effect means you start with the cause. Main cause is ultimately the Satchidanand Brahman, then Maya, right? Maya which is non-separate from it. And from that all these elements and everything comes. So ultimately, since the ultimate truth is Brahman, what comes out of that also will be what? Brahman. So that is what they want to say, that everything is Brahman. That is the purport of the Shastra. Knowing that, well, ultimately if everything is Brahman, then I am also non-separate from Brahman, therefore I am Brahman. If I am Brahman means I am limitless. That is what it is. I am limitless. And so, therefore, you will have a sense of fullness with respect to I. Everyone has a sense of a lack within, a sense of uneasiness. And therefore, whatever we have in our life, it is not sufficient for us. Because my ultimate goal is to become everything as though. I cannot become, but that is how it is. So whatever I have in my life is not sufficient. And all the time that sense of lack and sense of uneasiness centered on the self remains. Because in my eye, the self is limited. That's it. That is called samsara. So if you know that you are limitless, well, ultimately Brahman is Jagat Karanam, Brahman is the cause of everything, Brahman only is there, ultimately, then that Brahman is you, because you cannot be away from the creation, right? Therefore, you are also Brahman. Anyway, so my point is, the purpose is this. And second thing is, we see in the creation, we see here also in our world, that there's certain jargon which is adopted by one system of, in one system of a knowledge, has been adopted has been borrowed in another system. Like, this so-and-so's account has been freezed. What is this freezed? Freezing, etc. He will be there in the atmosphere. Account is freeze means what? So what is the jargon which is applied in the atmospheric science, etc., you apply it in the economics. So this is there. Inflation. There's another thing. Inflation. Now inflation is always with respect to, you swell with the air or something, a tire, etc. That's called inflation. No. Here also this is. So you adopt. You borrow a certain terminology which is there in one system, you adopt in another system. And you modify it little. So we are also adopting here. What they say, ahankara, etc., in there, we have as though adopted. And ultimately the whole creation, we are going to say it is mithya. Whether it is our theory of creation or their theory of creation. Creation is mithya. That's what we want to, we know it also. And therefore, we can adopt we can borrow others' theory of creation. There is no problem. And Upanishad itself has no vyavastha. Upanishad does not have a clear-cut theory of a creation. One Upanishad talks the entire creation from 3 elements. One Upanishad talks from 5 elements. One Upanishad talks not from elements at all. Prashna Upanishad talks about the entire creation from 2 aspects only, Rai and Prana. Like that. So that shows that it is not important for us to talk about, talk about a creation from one particular type of theory. If the creation is real, we have to tell exactly how the creation has taken place. But that's not the case. Anyway, so this by the way. So here, Sankhyas basically, we have borrowed their theory of creation. So what is first evolution? What is the final evolution? Is this Panchasthula Bhutani. Anyway, now I have to say something regarding this Sankhya's theory of creation. If you count all these categories total, starting from the Moola Prakriti or Avyaktam up to the 5 gross elements, all, if you count it, they will be Chaturvimshati, 24 tattvas, 24 categories total. And so how, in that we have to make a fourfold division actually, or threefold division. To explain this threefold division among these 24 categories, there is one Sankhya Karika, which tells in just one verse. It says, Mula Prakritihi Avikritihi Mahadadyaha Prakriti Vikrutayaha Sapta Shodakastu Vikaraha Na Prakriti Na Vikrutihi Purushaha. Prakriti means a cause. Vikruti means a product. Now, we will have to understand this. Mula Prakritihi Avikritihi. Mula Prakriti, the main cause, the principal cause, the basic cause, naturally it cannot be the product. Because everything begins from that. And therefore, that is first Prakriti, principal cause, which is not a Avikritihi, means which is not a product. Vikruti means product. Avikritihi, not a product. Mula Prakritihi Avikritihi. Okay. Then Mahadadyaha. After Mula Prakriti, the first evolution is a Mahat Tattvam, right? Mahadadyaha, Mahat etc. So Mahat etc. Prakriti Vikrutayaha Sapta. So Mahat Tattvam or Buddhi, Samashti Buddhi, which has evolved from the Mula Prakriti, is a product, right? Because it has evolved. But itself is a cause for Ahankara. Therefore, Prakriti Vikruti. So in comparison to the Mula Prakriti, I can call this Mahat Tattvam as a subordinate Prakriti, not principal Prakriti, because itself itself is a product of a Mula Prakriti, Mahat Tattvam. Ahankara also is basically a product from the Mahat Tattvam. And even 5 subtle elements also are product from Ahankara. So Ahankara becomes a cause. We can say it's a causal category for all this, Manaha and all this. 5 subtle elements itself is a cause for gross elements. But 5 subtle elements itself is a product also of the Ahankara. So, it is like we say, Ramaha, Lakshmanaha, Bharataha, Shatrugnaha. So, Shatrugnaha is basically is a youngest. Rama is the eldest. This in between two, they are elder and they were younger also. You can understand this. With respect to Bharat, Shatrugna, this Bharat and Lakshmana, both are elder. With respect to Rama, both are younger. This is how it is. So same way, from Mula Prakriti, Mahat Tattva comes. The Mahat Tattva is a product. Good. Evolved. But then Mahat Tattva give rise to, becomes a cause for Ahankara. Therefore cause also. Right? So that's how they say, this Karika says, this Mahadadyaha Prakriti Vikrutayaha Sapta, they are 7. But right now we give it up. We will say Mula Prakriti also is a Prakriti, and this 7. Which 7? Mahat Tattvam is also a cause for Ahankara. Ahankara is a cause for the subtle elements. Subtle elements is a cause for the gross elements. And therefore Mahat Tattvam, Ahankara and 5 subtle elements are also causes. Right? So 7. Mahat Tattvam, then Ahankara and 5 subtle elements, 7. So 7 and Mula Prakriti also. Total 8 Prakriti. Causal factors, causal categories. Clear? Out of 24, 8 are causal categories. And rest, whatever is there, is just products. Product categories. Vikruti, all. What are they? Mind. For Ahankara has given rise to mind. Mind does not give rise to anything. And therefore, the Samashti Manaha does not give rise to anything. So that Manaha, then this Indriya aspect, cosmic aspects, Those 10 also do not give rise to anything. And those gross elements do not give rise to anything. They are the products ultimately. So, manaha, this 10 indriya aspects, and these 5 gross elements, 10 plus 5 plus 1, 16 are just product categories, and 8 are causal categories. And this verse number 4, mentions these 8 causal categories. So, apara prakriti has been shown in the form of these 8-fold causal categories. That's how I divided. Total 24, 16 plus 8. 8 prakritis, causal factors plus 16. These product factors or product categories. They call tattvas, 24 tattvas. Anyway, so this is regarding this Sankhya's creation. We'll go to the verse little just within few minutes. So these 8 causal categories, Bhagavan calls it as a apara prakriti. This is a manifestation of Ishvara through Maya. So 5 elements and this ahankara and mahattattvam, etc., etc. Anyway, so and what is the common nature of all of them? These 8-fold causal categories. Well, they are parinami upadana karanam, naturally, because 5 elements are mentioned, subtle elements. Naturally, they are going to transform into gross elements. Mahattattvam has given rise to ahankara, right? It has evolved from mahattattvam, ahankara. Therefore, mahattattvam also is a parinami, changing. Ahankara itself has been modified into manaha, indriya aspects and 5 subtle elements. Well, that also means ahankara also is a undergoing modification, and 5 subtle elements also undergoes modification. So basically what is common in these 8-fold causal factors, that they undergo transformation. And moolam is this, our avyaktam, moola prakriti, which in our Vedanta we call it Maya. We call Maya as a parinami upadana karam. So it is quite close. Their model of creation is quite close to our model of creation. But certain aspects which they talk, which we are not able to accept because we explain it a little differently. So, all causal categories here, parinami upadana karanam, means they are inert in nature, and whereas the para prakriti, Satchidananda, which consciousness, well, is vivarta upadana karanam for the entire creation. Without undergoing modification, the entire cosmos appears in this Satchidananda Brahma, Paraprakriti. So right now also Satchidananda Brahman is available, right? That's how Brahma Jnanam is possible. Otherwise, if Brahman has modified into all these things, well, then Brahman is not available. Therefore, Brahman, with respect to creation, we call it as a cause. Paramatma also is a cause. Atma is also a cause, but basically it is vivarta upadana karana, exactly like the rope is a cause for the snake. So that is para prakriti. And this 8-fold prakriti, which undergoes change, is apara prakriti, inferior, that is superior, etc. This is bas, then the whole creation is over. Creation means what? Basically the Satchidananda plus all names and forms. So this is how Ishvara is going to describe, I am of the nature of para prakriti and apara prakriti. Now there is a doubt. I am going to create a headache in you a little bit, but this verse basically has this thing in this. Now this eightfold causal factors, while enumerating, Bhagavan does not mention the main factor, avyaktam or moola prakriti. You see, it is not there. It's not there. So Bhagavan has forgotten, it seems to be, the main cause from which everything begins. He has totally forgotten. Bhagavan has forgotten, or he has, as usual, he used to do some mischiefs, and so he must have done some mischief also. I don't know, but he has forgotten, so acharyas do the job for us, where that Bhagavan has mentioned, but with a different name. That's what he wants to convey. So anyway, that is one thing. The main causal factor of Vyaktam, from which everything has come, Mahat and Ahankara and all, he has No, not mentioned. And second thing, he has mentioned in this eightfold prakriti, eightfold cause, he has mentioned manaha, you see. And I said mind in that does not, it is a vikruti. It's a product. It does not give rise to anything. So Bhagavan has mentioned manaha. Eightfold prakriti in which Bhagavan has mentioned manaha, which is not a prakriti at all, which is a vikruti product. Because avyaktam, from that mahattattvam, from that ahankara, three streams. Manaha, then indriya aspects, 10, and 5 subtle elements. But then mind does not give rise to anything. 5 subtle elements give rise to 5 gross elements. That is there. But this does not give rise to. So, it is a vikruti. It's not a cause of anything. And Bhagavan here is enlisting, enumerating only causal factors. Why he mentioned manaha? So, 2 mistakes it seems Bhagavan has done. The main causal factor, causal category he missed, and manaha, which is basically a product, he has mentioned in this causal category, which is not. It's a product. So how to solve the problem? Anyway, but Shankaracharya ji has also solved, and Madhusudan Saraswati, there's another who has written a commentary on Bhagavad Gita called Gudhartha Deepika. Madhusudan Saraswati has solved this problem, and Shankaracharya ji. But it seems Madhusudan Saraswati ji has solved the problem in a simple manner. And Shankaracharya ji in a Bhashyam solved this problem in a little terse way. Terse, not too terse, but little terse compared to Madhusudan Saraswati. Madhusudan Saraswati says the word manaha should be understood as a avyaktam, mula prakriti. Why? How? Say manaha, the vachyartha means some cosmic material aspect, fine. But that cosmic material aspect, manaha, has come from what? Come from avyaktam. Avyaktam to mahattattvam, mahattattvam to ahankara, ahankara give rise to this manaha. And therefore, the manaha, vachyartha, the direct meaning of manaha is a cosmic material aspect, some aspect in the creation, but that has ultimately come from the ultimate cause called avyaktam. And therefore, lakshana by implication, well, because when you see any product, you can, in your mind itself, you can go to the cause, right? The cause is very much present there. Therefore, in a contextual meaning here, manaha is equal to, we have to take it as a avyaktam, ultimate cause. So that is simply solve the problem. So total eightfold causal categories are mentioned in this verse. Bhumihi, apaha, analaha, vayuhu, kham. 5 subtle elements. Bhumihi, why subtle? Why not gross? We'll talk. Bhumihi, apaha, analaha, vayuhu, and kham. Bhumihi, earth, subtle element. Vayuhu. Analaha. Analaha means agni, fire. Na alam vidyate iti analaha. This fire has a appetite, is like, my God. It consumes and consumes and consumes and consumes. Keeps consuming. Never says, there is an indigestion now. Never. Drums and drums of, ghee you pour in that. After some time says, give me more, give me more, give me more. Not after some time, at the same time. You can keep on adding and adding. You will be tired, your hand will be tired. But it will not say alam. Alam means enough. It never says. There is no word enough in the dictionary of fire. Analam. Anyway. So analam means fire. So bhumihi apaha. Apaha means water. Analaha means fire. And vayuhu. And kham. Kham means akasha. So 5 subtle elements are mentioned. Then manaha, buddhihi and ahankara. So manaha, as I told you, Madhusudan Saraswati says avyaktam. Buddhihi means this mahattattvam. And ahankara means ahankara tattvam. So all 8-fold causal categories, prakriti, have been mentioned. That's how Bhagavan says, ashtadha prakriti. eightfold causes. Because each one becomes a cause. Each subtle element becomes a cause for the gross element. Well, manaha, there's avyaktam, is a main cause. Buddhi, mahattattvam, is a cause for ahankara. Then ahankara, the ahankara is a cause for these three aspects, manaha, indriya, and the five subtle elements. And therefore, eightfold causal factors are there. This is just a gist of the verse. We'll go to Bhashyam now. Bhumihi iti prithvi tanmatram uchyate na sthula भिन्ना प्रकृतिः अष्टधा इति वचनात् तथा अबादयः अपि तन्मात्राणि एव उच्यन्ते. भूमिः इति, the first word in the shloka, भूमिः इति. So when you say iti, means Bhashyakara is quoting from the verse, taking up the word from the verse. So bhumihi prithvi tanmatram uchyate. Bhumi is equal to what? Prithvi tanmatram. Tanmatram means what? Sukshma bhutam, subtle element. Means subtle earth, not gross earth. Well, how Shankaracharya ji derived? Bhumihi, Bhagavan does not mention Bhumihi, you should take it as a subtle element. Bhashyakara has taken on his own. Bhumihi is equal to, means earth. Earth means can be gross or can be subtle. Bhashyakara has taken tanmatra. Tanmatra means subtle only, subtle element. Why? So Bhashyakara well says, if you are asking me a question, I am saying you read the verse. See the end of the verse. Prakritihi, ashtadha prakritihi. This bhumi is a cause, not a product. Gross earth is a product, right? Vikriti, right? Whereas subtle bhumi, subtle element, earth, is a cause for the gross element, gross earth. And therefore, here bhumi we have to take it as a subtle, because Bhagavan is enumerating only causal factors. Gross elements are not the cause. No, Swamiji, gross elements are also cause. Gross elements only are in the form of this body. Yeah, so that's a modification just, but not really the cause. Whereas subtle element transforms into gross element. That's how. Here what is available right now also is a gross, all gross elements. Okay. So, if sthula earth has been mentioned, then it would be vikruti. It would not be prakriti. But here it is prakriti has been mentioned, so we have to take it subtle. Anyway, and binna prakritihi ashtadha. So there, binna means this is divided, and ashtadha, eightfold. Prakriti means this cause. So the prakriti word is important. To take this bhumi as a subtle element, word prakriti is very important, which indicates a cause. Okay. Tatha, in the same manner, which means by applying the same logic, up adayaha. Abadayaha means up adayaha. Well, up means, as I told you, water. In the verse, it has been mentioned as apaha. Apaha means water. So, up abadayaha means water, etc. So, water, etc. means, well, Agni, Vayu, and Akasha also, which has been mentioned as a Analaha, Vayu, come. Well, those things also, tanmatrani eva uchyante. So, you have to take them with the same logic. Since Bhagavan is enumerating Prakriti only, so other elements, not just Bhumi, other elements also you should take them as a Tanmatrani. Only subtle elements you have to take it. But Swamiji, how Tanmatra is equal to subtle element? That's a Tanmatra is equal to subtle element you translated, but why? Because Tanmatra means Tad eva, that alone. Bhumi Tanmatra means only earth, nothing else, no alloy, no mixture. Gross earth is definitely a combination of all five, right? It is a combination of five. Gross earth means 50% subtle element earth plus 12.5% other four elements. That is a gross. So gross earth is definitely a mixture. Therefore, it cannot call tanmatra. Tanmatra means that alone. Tat means that. Matra means alone. That alone. means any element in a pure form. That is subtle element only. And therefore, tanmatra is a subtle element. So, Bhashyakara also uses this. In Vedanta, we use this word. Instead of subtle elements, we say tanmatras. It's a mix. So, this is how tanmatrani eva uchyante. So, now, this 5 elements, subtle elements, is a part of this eightfold prakriti, apara prakriti. And there is 5 elements. Now we have to go further. Three are left. And Bhashyakara says, Apaha analaha vayuhu kham manaha iti manasaha karanam ahankaraha gryhyate buddhihi iti ahankara karanam mahattattvam ahankaraha iti avidya sayuktam avyaktam. Now here we'll have to do one thing in order to read properly in Bhashyam. Tatha abadayaha api tanmatrani eva uchyante. After that there is a full stop that we have to remove. And we have to put a comma. And then apaha analaha vayuhu kham iti. There you have to put the full stop. You have to supply iti and then put a full stop. Then it makes a sense. Otherwise it will not make a sense. So anyway, so here it is said, so these 5 elements we have discussed, they are Prakriti basically. Out of 8-fold, Ashtada Prakriti, 5 elements have gone. 3 are left. So now Bhashyakara explains this Manaha. So Manaha, well, as we discussed, Manaha cannot be in the cause Prakriti, but it is included here. It's actually Vikruti. But so we will have to understand it properly. So Bhashyakara says Manaha. Madhusudan Saraswati ji has solved this problem. Manaha means avyaktam, by lakshana, by implication, ultimately, because that the cosmic aspect, material aspect called mind ultimately has come from the ultimate cause. And therefore you can indicate it. You indicate a pot as a clay. Who says no? You say, it is clay. You cannot tell me wrong. You say pot. I said it is clay. Well, ultimately it has come from that. So I can explain that way. Anyway, point is, so here, Manaha, Madhusudan Saraswati says, well, Avyaktam has not been mentioned by Bhagavan, and that's the main cause, and so it has not been missed. We have to understand it by implication. Manaha is Avyaktam, Mula Prakriti, etc. But Bhashyakara takes it little differently, as I told you, and therefore he says, Manaha iti manasaha karanam ahankaraha. Manaha is what? So manasaha karanam ahankaraha grhyate. So what manaha, by which you have to understand the cause of the mind. Cause of the mind is what? Ahankara. In Sankhya model. Once again I will explain you. Swamiji, we are tired of you. But anyway, please bear with me. So avyaktam and then mahattattvam, then ahankara. From ahankara, Manaha, Indriya aspects and 5 subtle elements, right? So the cause of the mind is Ahankara. So Bhashyakara says, Manaha, we have to take it as a Manasaha Karanam. As I just told you, right? Pot you are saying, I indicate the pot by saying it clay. What is wrong? There is nothing wrong. So Manaha is equal to Manasaha Karanam. So basically you have to take it as a cause of the mind, and that is Ahankara. Of that theory, Sankhya model, Ahankara. But Ahankara you should not say, because Ahankara Bhagavan has told. See, Ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakriti rashtata. You are saying Manaha, by which you have to understand Ahankara, then already Ahankara has been mentioned. We will explain you, don't worry. So that is what it is said. So Manaha means Manasaha Karanam, cause of the mind, and that is Ahankara alone. Okay, Buddhihi. Bhashyakara says, Buddhihi iti ahankara karanam mahattattvam. Go back, reverse. Buddhihi iti what? Well, Buddhihi iti ahankara karanam mahattattvam. So basically by Buddhi you have to understand the cause of the ahankara, and that is mahattattvam. So that is the meaning of the word Buddhi. So we are, Bhashyakara is telling, replace the word as I say, to understand eightfold Prakriti. Manaha is equal to Ahankaraha, Buddhi is equal to Mahattattvam. Right? Simple like that. So this is how we have got 7 now. 5 subtle elements, Mahatattvam, Ahankara. What is left? Avyaktam, Moola Prakriti is still left. Right? Where Swamiji? Avyaktam, then Mahatattvam, then Ahankara, and from there these 3, and then subtle elements, etc., give rise to gross elements. 8-fold Prakriti was there. Avyaktam, then Mahatattvam, Ahankara, and 5 subtle elements. 5 subtle elements mentioned. Then Mahatattvam mentioned. Ahankara mentioned. By Manaha we have to take Ahankara. By Buddhi we have to take Mahatattvam. Ho gaya. What is left? Main. Avyaktam is left. Moola Prakriti is left. So, now the word Ahankara is left there in the verse. Well, and that Bhashyakara explains it as Avyaktam. We'll see that. So, Shankaracharya says this, that word Ahankara in this shloka does not mean Ahankara, because we have already mentioned Ahankara by the word Manaha. It has been interpreted as Ahankara, and otherwise there will be 2 Ahankara mentioned in the one verse. That will not make a sense. And therefore, word Ahankara in the shloka means Avyaktam. Madhusudan Saraswati has simply did Manaha means Avyaktam. He need not have to do all this. Bhashyakara does like this. Everything. Manaha has been interpreted as a Ahankara. Buddhi has been interpreted as a Buddhi in the shloka has been interpreted as a Mahatattvam. So now what about Avyaktam or Moola Prakriti? So word Ahankara is there, that has been interpreted as a Avyaktam. And so Bhashyakara says Ahankara means Avyaktam. And what type of Avyaktam? Bhashyakara says Avidya Sanyuktam Avyaktam Ahankara iti Avidya Sanyuktam Avyaktam. We read that actually. So Avidya Sanyuktam Avyaktam is called Ahankara here. What is this Avidya Sanyuktam? What is this Avidya? Well, Avidya is translated as a potential Ahankara. Potential Ahankara. He gives example. He explains very beautifully with a very good example also. So Avidya means a potential Ahankara, which Bhashyakara is going to translate again. Avidya, he is in the next para itself, he is translating Avidya means Ahankara Vasanavat, he says. So Ahankara Vasana means potential. Vasana means potential. So what Avidya in the Bhashyam should be translated as a potential Ahankara. And in a Sanskritam, this potential Ahankara, we call it as a Ahankara Vasana. Vasana means what? Seed. Entire dream world you create. From what? From the Vasana, which is in the seed form, which is the cause for the entire dream world. It is not there in your conscious mind, right? Right now you don't see the dream. But in dream you see varieties of the objects and whole creation. Born of Vasanas. Vasanas are potentially there in mind, which is a seed for the dream world. And therefore, potential Vasanas means, a potential Ahankara means Ahankara Vasana. Potential. Ahankara Bijam, we can say. Either you say Vasana, either you say Bijam, or in English you say potential. Same thing. He will explain that further. So, Avidya Sanyuktam Avyaktam. Avidya is equal to Ahankara Vasana. Potential Ahankara is there in Avyakta, and therefore we are saying that Avyaktam can be expressed as Ahankara. So Shankaracharya's interpretation is Ahankara refers to Avyaktam, but Ahankara in the shloka refers to Avyaktam because Ahankara is in a seed form in Avyaktam. So that is how he explains. But how do you know Ahankara is in a seed form in Avyaktam? Whole lot of flowers, all fruits, all branches, all leaves, stem, bark, right? And the trunk, where was it before creation? Everything was there. So therefore, ahankara also ultimately has come from what? Right? Same, avyaktam. Ahankara was present in avyaktam as what? Avyaktam. Potential. And therefore, definitely we can express avyaktam. We can interpret avyaktam as a ahankara because ahankara was potentially present before it manifested. So, avyaktam, mahatattvam, ahankara. So, this is how it is. In one seed, you don't see. Flowers you don't see. You don't see the stem, trunk, nothing. No leaves, nothing you see. But it is right there. It has come from there only. So means it is not available for your perception, but it comes from there. So we say it is potentially there. Right? Potentially there. The butter is present in curd, potentially. People go, to the shop for buying butter. Butter is present in the curd, in potential form. If you churn, it comes out. There is no butter. That's a great lie. Even if you have 5 kgs of a yogurt, and still you say, we don't have any butter, let me go to the particular shop to buy the butter. Well, sir, you are wrong. You are wrong, it is there, but not available for transaction. Potentially there. What is potentially there is as good as not there. Not there, and we cannot say. As good as not there. So when you say avyaktam, we don't see ahankara in there. Potentially there. The whole tree was there potentially where? In this seed. That's how they call even seed also. What is potentially there is a seed. Whole tree is available in potential form. Where? Seed. Very beautiful. That is how we say seed has even a power to germinate, to give rise to tree. That is how one of the name of this Moola Prakriti or Maya is Shakti. Shakti. Shakti means the power of this Brahman to manifest into this whole creation. The whole creation was there in that potential form, right? So even we call Maya as a Shakti also. We worship also in Navaratri, etc. Anyway, I will come back and will do. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.